go.
one.
All right, so what we've got here, we've got our menu bar at the top, which you see in most Windows and Mac OS programs. You know, you've got your file, edit, view. It's just like everything else. Below that, we've got our toolbars. This is a toolbar here. There's a toolbar here. And we can also add other toolbars, which we'll go to in just a second. This is a panel. This is your panel access buttons. This is actually a panel. Sorry about that. This is also a panel. And we can move those around, which we'll get to in just a minute also. Let's start with the menu bar. Like I said earlier, the menu bar is what you see in every Windows program. We've got file, edit, view, document, batch. It's shortcuts for everything. It's a collection of menus. Each menu has a drop-down menu that organizes tools or other functions. Then below that, actually, I need to open a PDF. Sorry, give me just a second. If you have a tool selected, okay. If you have a tool selected, you'll see the Properties toolbar, which is this here. That's very important because once you start using tools, this will allow you to edit your tools, change your colors, change your line types, change your points, other things like that. It's a really useful function, but you'll only see that if you have a tool selected. Then these are toolbars, which are just shortcuts to different types of tools. You can see those, they're kind of spread out everywhere. A good example of a tool is right here, we just have a highlighter. So if I wanted to highlight some text or manually draw some highlighting marks, I could do that real easy. All right. That's really it with the menus and the toolbars.
Yeah, well, Braden, right there, I'm going to hop in. Show them how to highlight the text using the text select tool. Now that you got the highlighter tool on, it's a little I-beam looking thing with the A at the bottom where you got your zoom percentage just to the left of it, your very bottom panel, left a little bit right there. So being a vector PDF, you can select the text.
Well, this file's a little
PDF, huh?
This file's a little weird.
Yeah, I thought Jordan gave us
some of it's vector, some of it's raster.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Well, never mind, guys, because I didn't know this document. So
sorry about that.
That's all right. We probably should just pop. Oh, why don't you open up the A101 floor plan or whatever it is, A1.2 from the sample files.
Come on. There we go. Now we're working.
Yeah. So you can use the pen to freehand it, or you can actually use the text select tool and it'll highlight right on the text. So it looks very clean and professional.
So the next thing we're going to go over is the access panel bar, panel management. All right, so if you want to, you can click along with me here. Let's see, the panel bars allow you to maximize your screen real estate. So we can move these panel bars from the left to the right if we want to, and we can maximize and minimize them. So right now, our screen real estate's kind of small. We can close out this panel and close out this panel over here. If I can move the zoom. There we go. And we can have more room to work on our drawing if we want to. Now, the panels can be opened by clicking on the shortcuts or by dragging from the left to the right. So if you have a panel here, or if we close this panel, the file access panel, we can grab it and drag it open. There's a few other ways. That's one of the great things about review is there's not just one way to do things. There's several. There's shortcuts and drags and drops and clicks and picks and everything. Let me change profiles to a little more user-friendly one. Okay.
So you notice when Braden changed his profile that the toolbars all changed and the panel access, I think he had like 3 or 4 of them in that last one, and now he's got 2, 4, 6, like 8 of them or 9 of them down the left-hand side there.
Yeah, it's just a little easier. Manage panels by right-clicking on icon. So you have show, hide, attach. If you wanted to add extra tools, like if we wanted to add a layers panel, we could turn that on right here. And like I said, there's hundreds of ways to do extra things. You can also hit Alt plus Y. If you wanted to add layers, everything has a shortcut. Super easy to use. Or if you wanted to hide a panel, like if we didn't want this file access panel, we could just hide it so we didn't see it and easily turn it back on by going to show and turning it back on. You can also select where you want it. So by going to attach, you can put left if you want it over here on the left side where we're currently at, or you can do right if you wanted to put it over there on the right where we have our little markups gear. Or you can put the bottom, or you could detach it. If you detach it, it's going to be free floating. So if you're working with multiple monitors, you can easily move it around. So if we detached our file access one, it becomes free floating. Hopefully you can see that in Zoom. I don't trust it at the moment. So if we want to put it back, we just click on our right click on our panel button and then reattach it to the left. Of course, it changed the order, it moved it, but we can drag it back up to the top if we want to keep it at the top. And you can drag them around, put them however you want them.
Yeah, and I want to point out that the file access one is super handy. So you can see on Braden's menu there, he's got all the recent files that he's worked on. And we'll get into it a little bit later, but I'm going to show you how to pin files there. So as you guys are working on projects, when you pin it, it's really a pointer to that directory and where those files live. And as you update files, when you click, you should, if you're following the document management standards there, it'll just open up the latest and greatest of that individual PDF. So that's a concept and a tool that not a lot of applications have that we find it to be extremely beneficial.
Now, also some of the menu options are available under the panels. So a good example is the toolbox. The tool chest has a drop-down menu here. Oh, I'm sorry. We should be looking at thumbnails. The thumbnails panel has a drop-down with a whole bunch of different tools hidden in it that makes it easy to find. So if you're working with your thumbnails and you wanted to rename your thumbnails, you can find, you can extract pages, rotate pages, number pages. You can rename your pages. You can do all that from the thumbnails toolbar there, or menu bar. The tool chest menu, which I started to go about just a second ago, it allows you to show and hide your tool sets. So if you click here, it shows all our tool sets that are, the ones with the check are the ones we can see. So if we wanted to hide one, like if we wanted to hide recent tools, we could uncheck it. And you notice something disappeared here. You can also manage your tool sets, something we'll get into later, where you can add different tool sets or put extra things in there. And that's really it for panels. It's mostly just managing your real estate on your screen. Now, profiles is what we should touch on next. You can access a profile by going to review through the review menu up at the top of the screen. Click on it and then go down to to the profiles, and it flies out from the right and you have all your profiles listed.
You all should have, I think review advance. I think quantity takeoff comes with it, and then the 3 we installed this morning. That's probably all that you have. Is that correct?
I think we got field issues also.
Oh, you do? Okay. I guess they include that one now. They didn't before, but it's been so many years since I installed a new version. I don't know what they give you anymore. That's why I wanted to ask. So.
See, a profile is a unique interface configuration. So when we were moving our panels around, that's our interface. And all we're doing is saving that out to a standardized way of looking at it. It can also determine which toolbars, menus, and panels display. You can use it to customize your workflow and your workspace. And review offers a variety of preloaded profiles, such as review, advanced. I usually just use review. It's the default. It's just convenient for different types of user groups. You can also set up an advanced profile, or you can use the advanced profile. Or you could change it to, let's see, where's quantity takeoff? So you'll notice how the screen's completely changing every time we change the profile. So it's changing our workspace. Let's see what we got here. And you'll notice that the panels are configured differently for each one. So if we jumped over to quantity takeoff, which is where we're at, if we jump back to review advanced, everything almost disappears. Toolbars move, they're all up here now. Whereas in our last profile, and the quantity takeoff profile, some of the tools were over here on the right side. So you just lay it out to what you like best.
This is where bringing standardization inside Reagan Smith, it'll really help. If everybody's screens look the same, when you get to training or people pinch hitting on a project, they don't have to go find where people have hidden tools. Everybody's operating off the same thing.
So if we go to the BCT punch profile, this workspace is customizable. So what we can do, let's say if we wanted to add a toolbar, even though this is a saved out profile, we can still alternate it and change it however we want. Like if we wanted to add a toolbar, we could right click up here and then we could add the, let's see, we'll add the digital signature. So that added the digital signature toolbar to this profile. It's right there. And we can customize it if we wanted to. We could move this around. We could put it down here. Well, if you want to cooperate, we could put it down here. We can move it around. So you're not stuck with it. You can change it if you want to. So in addition to being able to turn on and turn off toolbars, we can drag and drop them into workspaces. We can also customize view panels for how we want to look at them. Like I showed you earlier, if we wanted to move the thumbnail panel over to the right, we could right click on it and we could attach it to, we could attach it to the right side. So now the thumbnails moves over here. Or we can move it back to the left if we didn't like that by right clicking, attaching, and going to left. Another way you can customize your panel is by configuring the view space within a panel. You can split the view in tops and bottoms or side views configuration. So if you, if you left click on it and drag kind of upward, like I'm doing now, you can condense it or compress it. So there's all kinds of ways to change these types of panels. Now, let's say you like what you've got and you want to save it out. You can go back into review profiles and then you could save it. So if, let's say you had a Reagan Smith profile, but you wanted to make a few adjustments because you wanted your thumbnails on the right side instead of the left, but you didn't want to overwrite the Reagan Smith profile that's on your server. So you could go to save profile. Or, I'm sorry, that just immediately overwrote it. You can go to manage profiles. You don't want to go to save. That's if you were setting up the Reagan for everybody and you didn't want to do that. All right, so we would go to manage profiles. We would go to add. We would create our new profile. Like we would call this Braden's Reagan Smith profile. So then I'd say okay. And then I would save it out, which I could select where I wanted to save it.
Yeah, that's a default, but you may end up having that on a path on the server. You know, Miriam may put you a place to put it. So when he's spinning up new machines, he can go get it and add it to it.
Yeah, so that's pretty easy to do. So if I want to save it, I just select my file path and then I say okay. So we'll save Braden's Reagan Smith profile. And that just saves it into whatever directory you put it in. So pretty straightforward. All right, so we've messed with profiles. So I want to go back, or we've lightly touched on profiles. I want to go back to just my basic profile so that we can look at some of the